The history of the world is the long story of humanity's awakening to itself, beginning in deep prehistory when early humans learned to shape stone tools, control fire, and speak in symbolic language, giving rise to culture, memory, and tradition. For tens of thousands of years, people lived as hunter-gatherers, moving with the seasons, forming kinship bonds, telling stories around fires, and slowly developing art, ritual, and moral customs that bound their communities together. This age laid the foundations of everything that followed: cooperation, imagination, and the sense that life has meaning beyond survival. Around 10,000 years ago, the agricultural revolution transformed human life when people began to domesticate plants and animals and settle in permanent villages. Farming allowed populations to grow, food surpluses to be stored, and specialized roles to emerge: priests, warriors, artisans, and rulers. The first great civilizations arose along fertile river valleys such as the Nile in Egypt, the Tigris and Euphrates in Mesopotamia, the Indus in South Asia, and the Yellow River in China. These societies invented writing, law, mathematics, architecture, and organized religion, creating empires and complex cultures that asked deep questions about justice, order, and the divine. In the ancient world, humanity reached a new level of reflection and creativity. The Greeks explored philosophy, science, and political life, asking what is true, good, and beautiful while developing democracy, drama, and systematic reasoning. The Romans built vast legal and administrative systems that held together an enormous empire and passed on ideas of citizenship, law, and civic duty. In India, thinkers developed profound philosophies about consciousness, duty, and liberation, while in China, Confucius and others shaped ideas about harmony, family, and moral responsibility. Meanwhile, the Hebrew people introduced a powerful moral vision of a single just God who calls human beings to righteousness, a vision that would profoundly shape later history. Out of the ancient world emerged the great world religions, especially Christianity and Islam, which spread across continents and reshaped cultures, ethics, and politics. The fall of the Western Roman Empire led to the medieval period in Europe, where monasteries preserved learning, kings and knights organized feudal societies, and the church provided spiritual unity. In the Islamic world, scholars preserved and expanded ancient science, mathematics, medicine, and philosophy, creating a golden age of learning. Trade routes connected East and West, allowing ideas, goods, and technologies to circulate, knitting the world more closely together. The late Middle Ages gave way to the Renaissance, a rebirth of classical learning, art, and human creativity in Europe. Thinkers and artists turned back to Greek and Roman sources while also forging new paths in painting, literature, and science. The Protestant Reformation challenged the authority of the Catholic Church and emphasized personal faith and scripture, reshaping religion and politics. At the same time, European exploration and conquest brought the continents into sustained contact, creating global trade networks, but also causing immense suffering through slavery, colonization, and the destruction of indigenous cultures. The early modern period saw the rise of science and new political ideas. Figures like Galileo and Newton revealed a universe governed by discoverable laws, while philosophers such as Locke and Rousseau argued that human beings have natural rights and that governments exist to serve the people. These ideas fueled revolutions in America and France, which sought liberty, equality, and self-rule. The Industrial Revolution then transformed daily life through machines, factories, and new sources of energy, creating unprecedented wealth but also harsh working conditions, crowded cities, and deep social upheaval. The 19th and early 20th centuries were marked by nationalism, imperialism, and rapid technological change. European powers dominated much of the globe, often exploiting other regions, while movements for independence and reform slowly grew. Two devastating world wars shattered old empires and revealed both the heights of human ingenuity and the depths of human cruelty. The Holocaust, nuclear weapons, and total war forced humanity to confront the consequences of its own power and hatred. After World War II, the world entered a tense Cold War between rival ideological systems, while many former colonies gained independence and sought their own paths. Science and technology advanced at astonishing speed, producing computers, medicine, space travel, and global communication. At the same time, struggles for civil rights, women's equality, and human dignity reshaped societies. The late 20th and early 21st centuries saw increasing globalization, connecting economies and cultures while also creating new challenges of inequality, environmental crisis, and political division. Today, the history of the world continues as humanity stands at a crossroads, armed with unprecedented knowledge and power, yet still wrestling with ancient questions of meaning, justice, and responsibility. From the first stone tools to artificial intelligence, from tribal fires to global networks, the story of the world is the story of human beings striving to understand themselves, one another, and the universe they inhabit. It is a story of creativity and destruction, faith and doubt, suffering and hope, always moving forward, always unfinished.